Now then lads, and welcome back to a long overdue video. A while ago I was asked to cover the KV series of tanks, so I said yes. And then let's say I got sidetracked with stuff like university, and a brilliant decision to play other Fallout games again because I got Atomfall, and then I got sidetracked by playing a bunch of Guts and Black Powder, and now we're here. All I can say is, I'm sorry I got sidetracked, but hopefully now I will be able to properly actually return, and we're going to start getting back into YouTube with, of course, the Kv-Ideo. Okay, so what is the Kv tank? Well, to understand that, I want to introduce you to my newly acquired pet, Artyom the Kv-1. Say hello, Artyom. Artyom is going to tell us some facts, some strategies, opinions, and maybe even a joke or two about the KV series. Isn't that right, boy? Great, look at how excited he is, ain't that cute? So, without further ado, let's get into the history of the KV series. The KV series' story essentially goes like this. So the Soviets build the T-35, right? And they realise it's kind of bad because multi-turret seems to be stupid because of overworked commander, right? Great. And then they get in the Winter War with 3 prototypes. The SMK, the T-100 and the KV, or Kliment Voroshilov, if you are fancy, and you say those words. Anyway, the KV wins because it only has 1 turret and is, it's just cooler in general. What do you think so far, Artyom? Do I know my tanks or what? Great. Now, they also made 2 versions, the Kv-1 and the Kv-2. So, the Kv-1 was originally meant to be armoured with the 76mm F-32 cannon, but as to be expected in the Soviet Union, they didn't have any built yet, so they decided to use the smaller, more accessible L-11 cannon, and all the 1939 models were given this cannon. Good fact there, boy, not letting me forget that. The Soviets then updated and manufactured all models after with the F-32 cannon, and then later on the F-34 cannon, and finally with the ZIS-5 cannon, which can also be seen in Enlisted in the Kv-1 ZIS-5. However, these were not enough to satisfy the Soviet Union's thirst for death, and so they decided to make a death fridge to blow up all the pillboxes, which is essentially the Kv-2. Okay, I get it. Jeez, Artyom, I didn't know you were so passionate about the KV series. Anyway, the KV series tanks did really well against the Wehrmacht and beat them hard, causing the Germans to have to invent new tanks to deal with them. They go further into development later on, such as the Kv-1S, but we will only be covering the ones in Enlisted, and no, that does not include the IS series. If you want to see a video about that, let me know in the comments. Anyway, on to these tanks in Enlisted. Do they perform well? Are they good? Will Artyom get upset about my opinions on the KV-2? Who knows? Let's get right into it. Alright, let's begin with the first tech tree KV, the Kv-1 L11. It's kinda just pretty overpowered. Okay, hear me out. This thing is good, and you will hear no argument from me on that front. It's a tier 3 tank that can survive dynamite, a bomb next to it, and multiple Panzerfausts too. Yeah, sure, Artyom, but it's kinda laughable. This thing is so hard to kill, it's almost hilarious. It also can just wreck everything at its tier, and with the decent cannon, I mean, not really. Sure, it's a great all-round weapon with good HE and a solid DT coax, but overall, it's so good it just kinda outshines all the other tanks of its tier. And if you have a half-decent team with this, then this thing just dominates, which is kind of frustrating because it's not too fun to fight. But Also, it kinda makes all the other Tier 3 T-34s kinda pointless by comparison, and while some of them have better guns, there is less of a reason to pick them, cause the KV-1's armor is so good. So how about that, Artyom? Your cousins are being made redundant, isn't that bad? Alright, Mr. Big Sprockets, calm down. The way I see it, this is the best tank for the Soviets at Tier 3. You know, it's 75mm of armour, it's mostly impenetrable. So, you know, use it if you want to win or just survive in an up tier, I suppose. Right, the Tier 4 KV, the ZIS-5. It's kinda not very good. So, I don't think it's all bad. It's pretty survivable with an extra 90mm of turret armour, but that gun and even the APCR makes up for the fact that Panthers and Tigers still absolutely wreck you. Yeah, that Tiger looked real scared of me, Artyom. You want to take him on yourself? Look, as a tank to cross over between Tier 3 and 4, sure, it's alright. Still mostly impenetrable, unless you're fighting people with Panzerfaust 100s or Panzerschrecks or what have you. Yeah, sure, Artyom, but so are all of the other tanks back to the T-28, so I highly doubt anyone is scared of the Cheeto. You can like it, sure, but I would rather a T-34-85 or an IS-1. Just saying. You can use this one at your own leisure, but once you have another Tier 4 tank, I would just heavily recommend you use that instead. There's not really much reason to use this at all. Just kind of sad, really. So, the Fridge of Death. Well, Artyom, my pet, it's actually pretty good. Especially now that they've down-tiered it to Tier 3. Yeah, sure, the reload is a pain, and the lack of a coax is annoying, but they're both things you can overcome with perks. But, you know, as far as I think, you know, it's a grey zone beast. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty good, and it's less of a pain to kill as well, so I actually really like it. Yeah, so what, I like fairer tanks, sue me. Anyway, this thing is good, and the overpressure can deal with most tanks. Hell, most tanks probably will fear you anyway, and infantry will target you once you've wiped out a point by yourself, so, okay, that's not very good. Indeed. I don't know, you seem to have a more explosive personality. I don't know what you do or you don't like, jeez. Well, there is one slight issue relating to the KV-2. Yeah, and it has a smaller turret with the same 75mm armour like all the other KVs at Tier 3, but for that price I'm not paying for it. Like, you know, it's 50 quid near enough for a coax and a little bit of a harder target to hit. But you know, if you think the coax is worth that, sure mate, go ahead, buy it, but I'm not. Well, that's all the KV tanks at Enlisted. What do you make of them, Artyom? Sure, cool, Artyom. Anyway, say goodbye, the video's ending. Okay, bye, I guess. Anyway, I think overall, these are a set of pretty good tanks. Even though I'm not a big fan of all of them, I think they're pretty good. Like, I think they're really good. I think they're kind of broken. But then again, it's not like they're ever going to get a nerf. Anyway, thank you for watching. If there's any more weapons or tanks, but not planes, in Enlisted you want me to do a video on, let us know in the comments. Anyway, until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye.